Good evening, everybody, and welcome inside the gymnasium here at Milford High School, as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This is Tim Coet with you once again on the call as we bring you one final edition of Milford varsity girls basketball here in this winter sports regular season. And tonight, the Scarlet Hawks welcome in a non-conference rival from just over the border in the Hopedale Blue Raiders, a friendly neighboring non-conference rivalry here in the Milford gym here tonight. The Scarlet Hawks come in to this matchup hoping to grab some late season victories. Both of these teams under the 500 mark, Hopedale by just a single game. These two teams ready to get things started, and the opening tip ends up in the hands of Brooke Ferreira. She eventually takes control, but immediately Milford is called for the backcourt violation. And so Hopedale will inbound from over here on the near sideline as we settle into game action here on this Thursday night. A bit of a different night for us to be bringing you high school basketball coverage, varying from our Tuesday, Friday routine to bring you this non-conference action here tonight. Hopedale off the up fake, drives inside, and that shot is going to rattle through for number 5, Biahava. Milford with a long pass up ahead to Kay Pellegrini, who gets some high bank off the glass to quickly answer back. Let's bring you the starting fives for these two teams. First, for the visiting Hopedale Blue Raiders, it is Lexi Carroll, Biahava, Mackenzie Reynolds, Anna Fafford, and Phoebe Carroll. Ball nearly coming loose before Hopedale recovers. We'll get you the Milford starting five in just a moment. That shot rims out. Another shot put up here by Hopedale is no good. And eventually a foul comes in under the basket. For Milford, their starting five, similar to what we saw earlier in the week. Eliza Syed, Maeve Driscoll, Kay Pellegrini, Brooke Ferreira. But the good news for Milford, senior captain Emily Croto healthy and back out there for this game tonight after missing the Tuesday contest due to illness. She'll take a bounce pass here on the near wing, feeds it down low nicely to Eliza Syed, who can't get the bounce to go her way around the rim. She'll get another chance here on the jumper. That one rims out. And eventually Syed's going to take the foul as she grabbed another offensive rebound, continuing to plug away there down low. Syed with the first free throws of this game, and her first shot will rim out. We saw a ton of activity from the free throw line, in particular in the first half of Tuesday's game against North Attleboro. That ended up going in the books as a real tough loss for the Scarlet Hawks as they had battled back from a large first quarter deficit, kept things close by the half, were able to pull in front at the end of the third quarter, held the lead in the fourth, but eventually the offense drying up for Milford late, and North Attleboro making some critical shots down the stretch to pull in front and maintain a lead to the finish line. So a winnable game for the Scarlet Hawks that unfortunately Milford couldn't cash in on. Final score in that game, 47-43, North with the victory. And so Milford now coming into this contest at 4-12 overall on the season. Just 2 points apiece on the scoreboard here through the early stretch of this first quarter. Hopedale leaving it up top for Lexi Carroll, now putting it in the hands of Callie Costanza checking into the game. I beg your pardon, that is Mackenzie Reynolds, number 10. Shot clock winding down. Pellegrini with good defense goes down to the floor, comes away with the loose ball. It ends up out of play, and it will be Milford basketball. Gritty play down low for Kay Pellegrini. Second straight game with Kay in the starting lineup, and you can already see the presence that Pellegrini brings out there on the floor. It's been a nice late season addition for this basketball team. Syed now trying to feed Pellegrini. That pass got tipped, and Hopedale able to eventually settle it, or will they? This ball ends up ticking over to the near sideline, but Hopedale does eventually settle it. Pellegrini able to get out on the perimeter to prevent the shot there. Now from the other side of the floor, Hopedale releases the three. It's no good. And the foul against Hopedale as both teams came together for the rebound. That foul goes against Anna Fafford, number 20. That's already her second foul with still 5:25 to go in the first quarter. Pellegrini trying to gun that pass down low, and now back outside. Those passes a little bit off the mark, and Milford has to reset. Proto getting that one to Pellegrini, now on the perimeter. The three-point shot for Brooke Ferreira is just off target, but there is Kay Pellegrini with the defensive rebound, and that ball ticks out of play off the hand of Biahava. Bounce pass entry finds Ferreira. Syed on the wing in some trouble, and Hopedale ends up securing the turnover. Up ahead now with Phoebe Carroll. And now Hopedale resets. The Blue Raiders are under the direction of head coach Jason Roget, and no doubt that name sounds familiar to high school sports fans tuning into this game tonight. Coach Roget has been a long-time coach in the high school ranks here in the central Massachusetts area, has had a lot of success in his time, in particular over in the town of Medway. We'll get to more of that in a moment, as this shot is going to connect from three-point territory. Count it for Lexi Carroll, as that gives Hopedale a 5-2 advantage. Outside, good look for Ferreira. Instead, it is Driscoll who takes the shot. She connects from two. Maeve's first points of the night, as we dip under the 4-minute mark. So it was a long tenure as the boys basketball coach in Medway for Coach Roget, 12 years. Also has coached the girls soccer team over in Medway for nearly 2 decades now. And again, a lot of success with both of those programs, coming here to Hopedale prior to the start of last season. Shot tossed up here by Carroll is too short. Syed controls under the glass. And now Ferreira with acceleration. That ball ends up out of play. Couldn't quite tell at first if that was a tipped ball, but perhaps Ferreira expecting a teammate to be in that spot, and instead that bounce pass went clean out of bounds. Subdued atmosphere here in the Milford gym as we get deeper into this first quarter. Contested shot at the free throw line is off target, and bodies go tumbling out of play. It was Hava for Hopedale. She gets right back to her feet, helped out by her teammates. Driscoll now looping that pass over the reach of Proto, and that goes careening off into the stands. Hopedale players ducking for cover as we get a substitution here. Driscoll to the sidelines. Our first look of the night at Olivia Baglione, who had a chance to log some considerable minutes in that game against North Attleboro on Tuesday. She played well. And also for Milford, Caitlin Kernan checking into the game. And Erin Mickelson as well, who sends that ball into the backcourt. Hopedale able to recover. No backcourt violation called there, as the shot is no good. Wide open look on the rebound for Sienna Bailey. And Kernan now called for the travel. And right now, Coach Dolliver with a lot of activity from the bench, and we're seeing a similar situation play out here as we did on Tuesday, with Kernan getting in under very select situations, especially early. And Kernan has obviously continued to command a lot of attention on our broadcasts, as we see clearly the talent that exists there for the freshman. As that shot misses, Hopedale able to extend the possession. One thing that we have seen with Kernan as the season has gone on is that the foul numbers tend to escalate quickly. And perhaps that has been part of the strategy for Coach Dolliver deploying Kernan in these last couple of games that we have covered, trying to keep her available, especially in those critical late game situations. Meanwhile, here is TJ Downing, and she is able to knock down that shot to pull Milford to within one. 7-6, Hopedale with the lead, less than 90 seconds to go in this opening quarter. And another offensive foul going against the Blue Raiders. First foul of the night called on Phoebe Carroll. So Milford right now with two starters out on the floor in Pellegrini and Croto, along with Olivia Baglione, TJ Downing, and Erin Mickelson. Bounce pass, nice feed, and finished off by Pellegrini. Great pass for Mickelson, finished off by Pellegrini. And Milford takes their first lead of the game at 8-7, less than a minute remaining in the quarter. Good energy from this current configuration on the floor. Croto swoops in for a defensive rebound. And now Croto gets fouled, and I believe that will be the fifth team foul on Hopedale in this quarter. As the foul goes against Sienna Bailey, they get it updated on the scoreboard. So 5 team fouls for Hopedale, just 1 for the Hawks so far. Katrina Ledger into the game. She makes a nice pass. Milford can't finish the shot that time. And now the shot clock turned off with less than 30 seconds until the conclusion of this opening period. Hopedale finding some space from three-point territory, and it is Bailey who knocks down the shot. 5 first quarter points off the bench for Sienna Bailey, and it is Hopedale back in front. 10 seconds remain for Milford. Outside for Downing, she passes up the shot. Now her attempt from the free throw line is blocked, and Hopedale will allow these final seconds to tick down. So Milford briefly grabbing a lead there late in the quarter, but Hopedale on the back of that three-point shot from Sienna Bailey, able to jump in front as the first quarter comes to a close. So a fairly competitive start to this one. Hopedale with a 10-8 lead on Milford. Quick timeout here on the broadcast. We'll start the second quarter in just a moment. Stay with us here on Milford TV. Back for the start of the second quarter. A 2-point advantage for the visiting Hopedale Blue Raiders as they control the ball to start the second quarter. Milford keeping the same group out there that concluded the first quarter. Good defense so far on this possession. Hopedale lines up a fairly deep three. Shot no good. The rebound controlled by the Scarlet Hawks. Done a good job rebounding so far in this half. Mickelson back outside for Baglione. Not willing to take the shot from the wing. Now Ferreira calls for it. Shot clock down to 10. Here's Mickelson now, tosses up a tough shot, but she takes the contact. That foul will go on Sienna Bailey, who led all scorers in that first quarter with 5 points. Picks up her second foul. Now 16 fouls on Hopedale with still a long way to go in the second quarter. Milford had a decent free throw shooting day back on Tuesday against North Attleboro, but they have struggled so far tonight. They've missed their first three. One more to go for Mickelson. So Milford leaving some points out there from the line in this half. Hawks putting pressure on here in the backcourt. Ledger with a good move at midcourt, but Hopedale able to advance. Now a clean look from three, and it's drained by Biahava. She's now up to 5 points in the half, and the lead for Hopedale now grows to 5 with 6:40 to play until we reach halftime. Downing now will release a three. That one misses. Mickelson is there for the rebound. Now it is Ferreira on the wing. Ledger has that ball jarred loose, able to get it back, kicks it out to Brooke. And the fans count down the shot clock as Mickelson bumps off of contact. Here's Baglione. She puts up the shot. And this is everything, but fortunately for the Scarlet Hawks, that ball eluded the grasp of Hava. It went off her hands and out of play, and so the Scarlet Hawks will be able to inbound, or will they? It looks like the referees are going to decide here whether or not that was a shot clock violation. We did briefly hear the buzzer. And so now they will give the ball to the Blue Raiders to inbound. Milford has the pressure in the backcourt once again. Kernan back on the floor. Hava pulls up for the jumper. It's no good. Ball ends up out of play, and Downing frustrated as she came in contact with that ball before it went out. Full shot clock here for the Blue Raiders. 5:59 to play in the half. And Hopedale going to get called for the travel, and more good defense underneath the basket, that time for Olivia Morelli. I beg your pardon, Olivia Baglione. Olivia Morelli, part of this basketball team last season as one of the senior captains. Here is Mickelson. She takes a quick feed and puts it in. One possession game, little over 5.5 to go in the second. Ferreira gets her hands on that ball, and it ends up out of play, and Milford continues to apply good pressure. It's Mickelson who will advance the basketball. Mickelson along with Ferreira, Croto, Olivia Baglione, and Caitlin Kernan, the 5 on the floor right now. Good quick passing, and Milford will get another chance at the free throw line. The passing has been crisp for the Scarlet Hawks here in the first quarter. That has not always been the case this season, but it's been well executed throughout this half, and see Coach Dolliver shake up the combination on the floor once again as Ava Baglione comes out to replace Olivia. Emily Croto with effective free throw shooting. Well, it looks like they will wipe the second shot off the board on a violation. So we'll call it a 1-for-2 trip. Two-point differential on the scoreboard, now under 5 minutes to go. A quick hook for Phoebe Carroll. That's her first points of the game. Ava Baglione getting harassed out on the perimeter. Loops a pass the other way for Croto. Now back inside. And Baglione able to maintain the possession. Now Mickelson saves it. And finding the open shooter, it was Ferreira. Couldn't knock down the shot. Milford fighting for rebounds. Croto pulls one down as Ava Baglione's shot wouldn't land. Still Milford basketball, 31 seconds on the shot clock as Kernan will inbound. Trying for that quick bounce pass entry into Aaron Mickelson. That ball jarred loose, goes out of play. It will stay with Milford. And once again, Kernan to the bench. Maeve Driscoll returns to the floor. Driscoll will shoot the three. It's short. Milford with the rebound. It was Croto with the rebound. She puts it back. Grabs her first shot from the floor in this game. And pulls it back to a 2-point margin. Milford collapses down low. Now Driscoll guarding Mackenzie Reynolds, but she was able to get loose for the shot and makes it. Some good up and down the floor pace in the second quarter, coming down to 3.5 minutes to play. Ava Baglione. A little off target with the shot, collects her own rebound. And now we'll try her luck from three. Meanwhile, a whistle sends the possession over to the Blue Raiders. Milford with some good defense off that inbounds pass. They force the travel. We're seeing an aggressiveness out of this Milford team tonight that is a real welcome sight. And that pass will elude the reach of Driscoll. Lisa Syed returning to the floor with 3:17 until halftime. Croto staying with Reynolds. Now that ball comes back out towards midcourt, picked up there by Lexi Carroll. That shot rattles around, does not go through, and another defensive rebound for Aaron Mickelson. Ferreira surveying her options. Her pass is blocked. The ball kicked around and eventually picked up by Hava. Hands off to Reynolds now. Less than 2.5 minutes until halftime. Kay Pellegrini perched at the scorer's table as this ball comes loose. Croto fighting, pushes it ahead to Eliza Syed. Now this ball skips its way into the hands of Brooke Ferreira. And now on the perimeter for Mickelson. Tipped out of play by the Blue Raiders. Substitutions will come in on both sides here as Pellegrini replaces Ferreira. Outside for Pellegrini, into the corner now for Aaron Mickelson. And Pellegrini now with some space, knocks down the three. 7 points in the half now for Kay Pellegrini, a 1-point differential with 1 minute and 45 seconds until the half. That ball goes out of play. It will stay Hopedale ball. Good competitive feel to this half. Pellegrini staying with. Defensively, that ball ends up in the hands of Phoebe Carroll for the shot. It's no good. Here comes Mickelson. You can hear the feedback from Coach TJ Dolliver on the sidelines. He's happy with what he's seen in this half. Back to Pellegrini, eyeing Mickelson down low. Instead, it was Croto to the basket with the points. Milford back in front by 1. That shot rims out. Driscoll had her hands on the rebound, but couldn't secure. And that leads to an easy bucket for Phoebe Carroll. Pellegrini calling for it down low. That pass deflected. Numbers up the floor here for Hopedale. Pellegrini a little slow to get back to her feet, back up there now. And I beg your pardon, that last Milford basket was Eliza Syed, not Emily Croto. A lot of bodies down low there. Now Mickelson, long pass, feeding Maeve Driscoll, but it's broken up now. Final 5 seconds of the half, Milford locks up. No jump ball, instead they'll call the foul. And Hopedale will inbound with 4.1 seconds. Milford goes back to the half court. 1 second, and that shot is just short from near midcourt for Biahava, so that will send us into halftime with just a 1-point difference on the scoreboard, 19-18. Hopedale will carry the slim lead, but again, it's been a very even playing field here throughout this first half. Nice work done by both of these teams. We'll hope to see that same competitive effort in the second half of this varsity girls basketball contest. But in the meantime, we will pause here for halftime. It looks like we will have some youth basketball action here during halftime, so we might have a little bit of an extended pause here on our live coverage. But stay with us here. We'll be back with the second half in just a few minutes here on this coverage of Milford High School girls basketball on Milford TV. Back inside the Milford gym, time for the second half to get started in this non-conference matchup between your Milford Scarlet Hawks and the Hopedale Blue Raiders. Hockomock League meets Dual Valley League. The third quarter begins as Maeve Driscoll sends the inbounds pass in. It was Kay Pellegrini who led all scorers in the first half with 7 points. Thea Hava and Sienna Bailey were the leaders on the Hopedale side, each with 5 points apiece. Milford outscored the Blue Raiders 10-9 in that second quarter, but a late shot for Hopedale allowed them to head into the half with the lead. Good competitive feel to this game throughout the first half, and really impressed with the overall effort and intensity that Milford has brought to the floor tonight on both sides, and particularly on defense. They've been a different looking club than what we have seen at times earlier in the season. Meanwhile, Mickelson, she dribbles her way outside, was all alone for three. Overcooked the shot. Milford controlled the rebound, and then that pass through traffic is picked off by the Raiders. Up to the basket, that shot blocked. The late effort by Kernan coming in, making the difference. Ball ends up out of play. Hopedale will retain possession. Early substitution here, less than a minute into the half, as Kay Pellegrini replaces Brooke Ferreira. That ball jarred loose. Kernan dives to the floor for it. And it ends up out of play. Milford, I beg your pardon, Hopedale will have possession. For Milford right now, it is Pellegrini, Croto, Kernan, Driscoll, and Mickelson, the five on the floor. Lexi Carroll around the perimeter. Croto now in tight on Reynolds. Shot clock down to 1. And meanwhile, Hopedale, with the shot clock expiring, banks in a three. A great defensive stand there for Milford, but an even better shot right at the end of the shot clock for the Raiders. And now that ball loose. Mickelson saves it. Milford trying to answer with a three of their own. It's no good. That was Lexi Carroll who dropped in that buzzer-beating three to give Hopedale a 22-18 lead. About to reach 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Milford looking for their first bucket here in this second half. Pellegrini and Croto defending on the perimeter. Mickelson trying to get out to contest the three. Might have done just enough for that shot to go offline for Reynolds. Kernan dumps the pass into the corner for Aaron Mickelson. It's no good, and now here is Carroll with a step on the defense. Goes up for the layup, no problem. And it's 5 points here in the third quarter for Lexi Carroll to extend the Hopedale lead out to 24-18. Now it's Pellegrini, thought about taking the shot. Now has that one poked away. Down low for Kernan, turnaround jumper is offline. Milford pinning Hopedale to that end line, and Coach Roger calls the timeout, stops the clock with 5:06 to go in the third quarter. I think that's our first timeout of the game. We had a nice crisp pace to that first half. And the clock right now paused at 5:06, 24-18. Hopedale in front of Milford. Milford and Hopedale in the girls basketball ranks have matched up quite a bit over the last decade. A lot of seasons these teams have come together twice. It's just one matchup on the season this year, but looking back through the last 10 regular season meetings between these two schools, and it has been advantage Milford. The Scarlet Hawks have a 7-3 record in the last 10 head-to-head meetings between these two schools. A lot of that success came earlier, back in the 20 teens, A lot of that during the Kate Irwin era, and these two schools have, it's really sort of been a factor of whose star player was on the roster at the time of the matchups. When Kate Irwin was suited up for the Scarlet Hawks, a lot of the victories went Milford's way. When Bree Frangilio came along on the Hopedale side, it sort of flipped the script, as Hopedale has won 3 out of the last 4 head-to-head meetings. Bree Frangilio, of course, a prolific scorer for this Hopedale program. She was a 5-year player, as of course Hopedale is a junior, senior high school. Surpassed 2,000 points for her high school career. Ended up graduating last spring after leaving an indelible mark on this program. Croto, a tough feed, sort of swats the ball out to save the possession. That's some of those volleyball skills at work that time for Croto. Ultimately, Hopedale was able to pick that one up, and now Milford picks up the foul. That one called on Erin Mickelson. 2 fouls on Erin. Milford had very low foul numbers in the first half. Right now, team fouls are at 1 apiece with 4:32 to go in the third. A 6-point edge now for Hopedale, as Milford has been held off the scoreboard so far in the quarter. Milford looking to avoid that offensive struggle quarter, which has cropped up on numerous occasions this season. Good defense down low. Ferreira ripping that ball out, but it gets back to Hopedale out on the perimeter. That 3-point shot misses everything. The ball goes out of play, and somehow it's going to stay with Hopedale here. Not sure how that ball got a piece of Milford going out of play, but the Raiders will inbound. They'll take the 3 off the inbounds pass. It's no good. And Pellegrini all over the defensive rebound. Olivia Baglione back out onto the floor, receiving the pass in the corner. She sends it underneath the basket to Mickelson. And Mickelson absorbs the contact. And this will send Erin to the free throw line on the second foul called against Phoebe Carroll of Hopedale. And Milford making a free throw. Free throws were a struggle for the Hawks in the first half. Made just 1 of 6. Making 1 out of 2 at the line that time for Mickelson. And the team's locking up for a jump ball. So the Hopedale lead at 5 as substitutions come in for the Raiders. Now Mickelson contesting, and Croto rips that ball loose, puts it up, and puts it in. Mickelson and Croto, a nice little sequence there, and now they'll come together to defend that ball on the perimeter. The ball ends up out of play. Nearly wipes out the equipment here on the sidelines. Milford trying to go on a run. Tricky bounce pass for Pellegrini, goes down. Jump ball is called. Possession should stay with Milford here. Indeed, the possession arrow going the Hawks' way. Pellegrini's pass eventually finds Brooke Ferreira, who returns to the floor. Less than 3.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Pellegrini double teamed, looking to kick it out. Gets it to Baglione. Now Ferreira lets that ball slip out of play as Milford turns it over. 1 possession lead for the Blue Raiders. Croto again with good defense. Ferreira and Mickelson in the backcourt as well, as Hopedale finally is able to advance. Raiders will release from the corner. That ball hopped off the top of the backboard on a shot that we saw ruled out of play for Milford on Tuesday, but these refs allowing that ball to stay in play, and ultimately The teams lock up for the jump ball. This time the possession arrow giving it to Hopedale. Physical under the basket as Milford commits the foul on the shot by Sienna Bailey. Bailey had 5 points in the first half. They all came in the first quarter. Mickelson now with 3 fouls for the Hawks. These are just the first free throws of the night for Hopedale. As Bailey makes her first. Substitution, Pellegrini out, Syed back in. And 2 for 2 for Bailey. Mickelson's going to stay out there with the 3 fouls. 2:45 left in the quarter. She saves that ball from going out. Brooke Ferreira looking for her first points of the night. Instead, she dishes to Baglione. That shot looked good, doesn't go. The ball ends up out of play, and possession goes to Hopedale. Now Mickelson will head to the sidelines. Ava Baglione on the floor. A pair of Bagliones to go along with Brooke Ferreira, Emily Croto, and Eliza Syed. That ball up for grabs at midcourt, stolen by the Hawks. Ferreira calling for that ball, now blanketed defensively by Antonia Rollo. Ferreira getting it back in the corner. Now it's Croto. Good defense here for Hopedale. Ava Baglione trying to get the bank off the glass. It's no good. There's Croto again, fighting for it. And this ball eventually winds its way back in the hands of the Scarlet Hawks, but thanks to another tough defensive play for Emily Croto. The lead for Hopedale is 5. Croto left all alone. She decides to take the shot, took it flat-footed. Now Hopedale up the floor with some speed. Quick hands for Ava Baglione, knocking that ball free. It will stay with Hopedale. 29 seconds on the shot clock. 1:37 to go in the quarter. Down low. Good hands for Ferreira. She steals it. Now outlet pass to Baglione. Ava to Olivia. And now to the free throw line. Ava kicking it to the corner. Ferreira has some space, doesn't take the shot. Winds her way back up to the top of the key. And now a tough pass. Croto goes back to get it. Space for Syed from 3. That shot is short. Croto, again, not making life easy in the backcourt. Took a hard screen. Now the ball comes loose. Olivia Baglione couldn't secure it before it goes out of bounds. But again, the effort has been there on every play for Milford all night long. You love to see it. We'll have a timeout called here on the floor with 49.9 seconds to go. 26-21 lead. Hopedale on top of Milford. We haven't called a lot of non-conference basketball this season for either the boys or the girls. I'll give you a quick snapshot of the season so far for Hopedale. Out of the Dual Valley League, they come into action tonight with an overall record of 7-8. They are currently in 3rd place position in the Dual Valley standings. They've had good luck against their division opponents. They're 6-3 against Dual Valley teams. With that 7-8 record overall, they trail Sutton, who leads the Dual Valley standings with an overall record of 14-2, and the Nipmuc Warriors, who come in 2nd place with an overall record of 10-5. Hopedale enters the game here tonight off of back-to-back losses. They dropped a game earlier this week to Millbury High School, 52-38. Prior to that, last Friday, they fell on the road to the Dual Valley leading Sutton High School by a final of 52-29. Their last win came against Douglas High School back on February 1st. It's been a little while since the last victory for Hopedale. Both of these teams trying to put an end to losing streaks here tonight. That's a live action. There is Baglione. She goes down to the floor, laid out. And again, more of that gritty effort that Milford has displayed here throughout this game. Shot clock turned off now. Ferreira again doesn't pull the trigger on the shot. Instead, Milford with good passing, finding an open look for Croto. No good on the shot, but Milford gets another chance. Baglione from three. That shot rims out. 15 seconds to go in the quarter. Milford back to the half court. 8 seconds until the end of this third quarter. Hopedale heaves up that shot. It almost went in. And now the pass from Baglione to midcourt is broken up as the third quarter clock winds to a close. And so a lower scoring quarter, much lower scoring quarter for both teams, in particular the Scarlet Hawks, who made just one shot from the floor in that third quarter. And as a result, Milford now trails Hopedale 26-21 heading into the final 8 minutes. We'll take another pause here on the coverage. We'll be back with more in just a moment here on Milford TV. The fourth quarter begins here in the Milford gym. This game's still up for grabs. A 5-point lead for Hopedale at 26-21. Tim Coet bringing you this coverage once again here on Milford TV, live streaming courtesy of our YouTube page. It's our final coverage of this girls basketball team for the regular season, and it's been a fun one. Hopedale has led most of the way, but they have not been able to extend that lead. This is about as large a lead as either team has possessed at any point tonight. That pass deflected, but Milford able to recover. TJ Downing thinks about the shot, dribbles inside, has the shot blocked. Out of play it goes. Hopedale let it go. But possession will stay with Milford. 18 seconds on the shot clock. The Hawks with Croto, Syed, Mickelson, Ferreira, and Downing, the five on the floor as Brooke Ferreira unleashes a three and knocks it down. And finally, the first points of the night for Brooke as she knocks down a big shot, cuts the lead instantly down to 2. And now the foul committed. And if that is on Mickelson, it will be her fourth indeed. Team fouls at 3 apiece. It has been low foul numbers throughout this game. However, Erin Mickelson has been whistled for the bulk of those fouls on the Milford side, so she is in danger here with 4 fouls. And meanwhile, free throws coming up for Lexi Carroll. So Mickelson will take a seat on the bench. Maeve Driscoll back out on the floor. And a pair of misses at the line for Hopedale. And now it's Emily Croto with the three-point attempt. That is no good. Maeve Driscoll able to grab the rebound. Now it's Downing for 3. Nothing but net there for TJ Downing as Milford knocks down their second three-pointer of this fourth quarter, and the Scarlet Hawks take a 27-26 lead. And Milford now will inbound with 6:41 to go. So after collecting just 3 total points in the third quarter, Milford already with 6 in this opening sequence of the fourth. A good time for their outside shooting to heat up. Croto looked like she might try another one there. Instead, they sling it around the perimeter. Now it's Syed. She'll test her luck from 3. That one grabs the backboard, and the rebound is controlled by Phoebe Carroll. Milford will retreat back to the half court as the game clock winds its way down towards 6 minutes to play. That ball jarred loose, but picked back up again by Carroll. Syed matching up well down low. And that shot banked in by Lexi Carroll. She's had 7 points in this second half. She's now up to double figures, 10 points in the game. Croto with a tough pass down low. Now it's deflected back out for Ferreira. Croto another rebound. Now it's outside for Driscoll. That shot off target, and now the rebound to Hopedale. Milford really making a concerted effort to get their outside shooters going here in the fourth quarter. As timeout is called here, stopping the clock with 5:24 to go here in the fourth. It's back to a 1-point lead for the Blue Raiders after that bucket for Carroll. And meanwhile, offense has been at a bit of a premium here in the second half, but when you look at the numbers, in particular on the Hopedale side, they have scored 9 points total now in the second half. 7 of them have been scored by Lexi Carroll. She has made all of their shots from the floor in the second half. The only other points in the second half were a pair of free throws made by Sienna Bailey in the third quarter. If you're just joining us late in the action, it has been a very competitive night here on the Milford hardwood. 2 non-conference rivals. It's been a fun one to watch unfold, and a similar situation here to what the girls faced a couple of nights ago against North Attleboro. The game there for the taking. We'll see if they can make the stops and make the shots they need. Couldn't make the stop there as Carroll gets the bucket. It's out to a 3-point lead now for Hopedale as Ferreira winds her way inside. Now Driscoll in some trouble, able to dribble out of it, takes it inside. That shot does not go. Hopedale can't save it from going out of play. Fresh shot clock for Milford as the bounce pass comes in towards Ferreira. Hard contact there as Mackenzie Reynolds swooped in. No foul, but Milford will have another chance to inbound. 4:50 on this fourth quarter clock. Bounce pass deflected, out of play, and Milford will try it again. Now in for Aliza Syed. Her shot is blocked, and this time Hopedale is able to secure the loose ball. Hopedale with the ball and a 3-point advantage. Thinking about the 3 instead. Inside for the higher percentage shot. That one doesn't go down. Now Maeve Driscoll and Anna Fafford lock up for the jump ball, and possession arrow is going to give it to Milford. Meanwhile, Erin Mickelson will return to the floor with her 4 fouls. And these teams will talk it over. They'll head to the sidelines with the timeout at 4:51 to go. A chess match now between these 2 head coaches, 2 good head coaches on each side. Coach Dolliver for Milford, Coach Roger for the Blue Raiders. 30-27 Hopedale lead. Milford pumping up this crowd with a pair of threes in succession for Ferreira and Downing. Milford will close out this 2022-2023 winter sports regular season with a couple more games here at home. They'll be right back here on the home court tomorrow night against King Philip, and then next week on Valentine's Day they'll take on the Taunton Tigers before traveling to Franklin for their regular season finale. In the meantime, pressure in the backcourt here from Hopedale. As Mickelson spins back to center court. Tight defense from Mackenzie Reynolds. Now Croto finds Ferreira, turns around and loops it in for two. Brook now with 5 points in this fourth quarter. A 1 point difference on the scoreboard. It's now Milford who puts some pressure on in the backcourt. Hopedale able to advance, but Ferreira takes it away. One-on-one up the floor. That shot won't go. But free throws coming up here for Ferreira with a chance to tie and perhaps take the lead. That first shot, Ferreira ties the game up at 30. Now for a chance at the lead. Clutch free throws there for the senior captain. Milford now sprints back as Hava advances the basketball. Quickly approaching 3.5 minutes to go. All the way inside. Good play for Reynolds, finishes with the shot, and the lead flip-flops once again. Now Downing up ahead, has some space, floats it up, can't get it to go, grabs her own rebound, tons of contact, and no whistle. Now Croto breaks up that pass, Hopedale recovers. And Milford, who has played excellent defense all night long, needing a good stop here. Bounce pass down low. Good positioning for Eliza Syed. Kicked back out on the perimeter. 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Croto contests that ball loose. It goes out and will remain with Hopedale with 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Bounce pass held on to by Ferreira as well as Hava. The jump ball keeps it with Hopedale now with 4 ticks on the shot clock. Into Hava, she's pestered, 2 seconds and 1. She heaves up the shot, and that'll be a shot clock violation. A good defensive stand there for the Scarlet Hawks. Coach Oliver deploys Olivia Baglione with 2:42 to play in this fourth quarter. Milford trails by 1. Croto up top in the corner now for Baglione. And near collision there with Croto. Now she takes the handoff. 14 seconds on the shot clock. Syed inside, loses it. Able to avoid the foul, but Milford with a critical turnover as we tick down to 2 minutes to play. The lead stays with the Blue Raiders as Coach Roger now calls the timeout. No doubt these coaches look for teachable moments throughout these seasons, and what a great teachable moment here for the Scarlet Hawks in a near identical situation to what they faced 2 nights ago against North Attleboro, a game that was close, a game that was competitive, a game where 1 or 2 shots or 1 or 2 stops make the difference between a victory and a defeat. Milford unfortunately couldn't make the plays that they needed to make at the end of that game, in particular on the offensive side of the ball, to overcome the Rocketeers. Can they show that opportunity to learn from those mistakes and make the plays they need to make here with 2:09 to go and a 1-point differential on the scoreboard? The ball back in play, brought ahead by Mackenzie Reynolds for the Blue Raiders. As we approach the 2-minute mark, nice pass down low to Phoebe Carroll. She has 4 points in this fourth quarter, and it's now up to a 3-point Hopedale lead. Milford now guns it up ahead. Pass finds its way into the hands of Caitlin Kernan. Her shot offline. Proto fights for it, and the jump ball will keep possession with Milford. 25 seconds on the shot clock, 1:46 to go in the game. Milford needing to come away with points on this possession. Here's Ferreira. She takes it to the basket. Brooke with 2 more. Ferreira has heated up in this fourth quarter. She now has 7 points. Milford trying for the turnover, but Hopedale escapes. And Milford continues to apply maximum pressure in the backcourt. The Blue Raiders able to escape. 1 player back for Milford. And a critical bucket for Anna Fafford. And the lead remains at 3 as that ball bounces off the hands of Croto. She couldn't save it. And now down the other end of the floor with just over a minute left to play. Milford again needing a stop. Bounce pass down low to Phoebe Carroll. That shot doesn't go. Milford selling out for the rebound. It goes out of play off of the Scarlet Hawks. And so a fresh shot clock here for Hopedale with just 55 seconds now to go in the game, and Coach Dolliver calls another timeout. Milford had a good response play there with Emily Croto wide open underneath the basket, but that pass just off the hands ended up giving it back to Hopedale, and now not a lot of possessions left, especially with this 35-second shot clock. These coaches both each down on a knee as they go over strategy here in this critical late game situation. A lot of Hopedale fans in the house here tonight, as you would expect, with just a short distance to drive to catch their team in action on the road. So Milford returns to the floor with Caitlin Kernan, Ava Baglione, Olivia Baglione, Brooke Ferreira, and Caitlin Kernan. So Kernan, Croto, a pair of Bagliones, and Ferreira with 55 seconds to go. And this ball knocked into the backcourt, tipped, so no backcourt violation as Milford nearly comes away with the steal, and now Ferreira commits the foul. Team fouls at 4 apiece. That's the second on Ferreira. And now the inbounds pass eventually comes up top. Milford commits another foul, stopping the clock at 43 seconds. The inbounds pass will come from the near sideline. And right now, Milford continuing to use up the fouls they have to give. And back to the sidelines for another timeout. So we'll take the opportunity for a late pause here in the play-by-play. 42.3 seconds left. We'll get right back to the action at the conclusion of the timeout. Stay with us here on Milford TV. Another inbounds pass here for Hopedale with 42.3 seconds on the clock. And Croto going for the steal. It's just Emily's first foul of the game. And this now puts Hopedale in the bonus. So Milford making Hopedale earn it from the line. And the Raiders miss the shot. Milford secures the rebound. Here's Kernan now. And Kernan's going to get fouled. Foul numbers low on the Hopedale side as well. That's just their 5th team foul. 35.6 seconds on the clock. The ball into Ferreira. She kicks it to Kernan. That ball knocked loose, and Hopedale now secures it. And Kernan has to reach in for the foul. Unfortunately, Milford with the turnover. They can't produce a shot. And now another chance at the free throw line in the 1-and-1 situation for Hopedale. This time for Mackenzie Reynolds. Hopedale is 2 for 5 from the line in this game. Coach Oliver pulls Kernan and Olivia Morelli to the sideline. Eliza Syed and Erin Mickelson out on the floor. And that shot rattles out. Croto with the rebound, but the pass is going to be intercepted here. Milford comes in for the jump ball, but the possession arrow pointing Hopedale's way. And too many turnovers here in this final sequence for the Scarlet Hawks. Likely their undoing. Coach Oliver screaming for the foul from the sideline. It is the 2nd foul on Emily Croto. Another chance at the line for Phoebe Carroll. And finally, Hopedale gets a free throw to rattle through. After missing 3 here in this 4th quarter, Coach Oliver is going to call the timeout. It's up to now a 2-possession game with just 22.8 seconds left. So the options for Milford are dwindling. They've had some opportunities here down the stretch, but unfortunately, turnovers have creeped in at the worst possible time. Milford has generated their fair share of turnovers throughout this game, but here, inside of the last 2 minutes, so Coach Oliver still engaged with the team on the sidelines. Coach Roger's bunch now returns to the floor with one more free throw to go for Phoebe Carroll. Carroll's now up to 9 points for the Raiders. Lexi Carroll, the scoring leader on the Hopedale side with 10 points. The second shot off target for Carroll. Here is Ferreira now up ahead. Not a lot of time for Milford to play around with here, and a lot of dribbling going on for Ferreira. Now it is Mickelson. She has the ball poked away. Milford cannot get a shot. Finally, Ferreira takes it. It rims out. The ball tipped out of play. It will be Hopedale ball with 2.2 seconds, and that will wrap things up here. Milford will contest the inbounds pass. It is in, and the final seconds will tick away here. And a disappointing end to what was otherwise a very strong performance here for the Scarlet Hawks. They hold Hopedale to just 37 points on offense, but Milford couldn't make the plays that they needed to make here in this final stretch, and they fall here to Hopedale by a final score of 37-33. Still a lot to feel good about for Milford. Their best defensive effort of the season, good intensity throughout this game. And so for a team that is still very young, and many of these players will still be in the fold here at the varsity level for the next few seasons. Some things perhaps to build on with this game here tonight. But overall, with the loss, Milford will fall on the season now to 4-13. With the victory, Hopedale will make it to the 500 mark overall on the season. They are now 8-8. So this will bring a close to our final coverage of this girls basketball team this season. We wish them the best of luck the rest of the way. An outstanding group of athletes here that work hard each and every night here for this Milford varsity girls basketball team. We'll be back in action with one more regular season game to go in our coverage. It will come your way next Friday night as the Milford boys will be at home hosting the Franklin Panthers, and that will officially wrap up our winter sports regular season coverage. We hope you will join us then. In the meantime, a big thank you to our Milford TV crew on hand with the coverage tonight. Our director is Patrick Garapi, and our camera operator is Jack Ricca, and I am Tim Coet. That final score, one final time, 37-33. Hopedale defeats Milford. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.